Hello, this is Hector, and thank you for our brief discussion on RMDs, or required minimum distributions, what they are, where they come from, and how they fit into a financial plan, and most importantly, what you can do about them. So every good discussion of RMD starts with an old oil commercial, the Fram oil filters, the "you can pay me now or you can pay me later." I used to watch that with my dad when we were watching Bonanza back in the day. And we have kind of a reverse of that with a required minimum distribution. They kind of told us, you don't have to pay us now, but you have to pay us later. So here was a deal that came to us in our younger career. As an incentive for us to plan for retirement, the government made us this deal. They said you can deduct the money that you're putting into a retirement account, and those are called qualified accounts, but they qualify for the deduction, which means that you don't have to pay taxes on that money. That's a good thing. And you don't have to pay taxes on the growth. So as the money is growing every year, you don't pay any taxes. And you don't have to pay the taxes until you take the money out. Well, that was kind of cool. And it kind of looks like this. On the left, you can see that there's a gentleman who made $100,000 in income. He put no money in the IRA, right? And so he has $100,000 in taxable income and a 20% tax bracket. He's going to pay $20,000 in taxes. If he puts $10,000 in an IRA, that reduces his taxable income to $90,000. So he's going to pay less in taxes today, but he's going to pay those taxes later when, in theory, our income is less and the rates are lower. But today, he saved $2,000 in taxes, and that was our incentive, and that's why most of us did it. The but, or the loophole, or the fine print was this. You had to wait until you were 59 and a half to get the money out. Many of us are very familiar with that because we had to pay a penalty if we needed the money, and that penalty was 10%. But when you took the money out, the theory is that you would be paying, you would be earning less money, so you would be in a lower tax bracket, which means that you would pay less in taxes. You'd even have an arbitrage. We're simply saying, in the example we just had, a person saved 20% in taxes because he was in a higher bracket, and then when he took it out, the theory was you'd be in a lower bracket at like 15%. So not only are you earning less income, but you're in a lower tax bracket. So it was a money-making proposition, no matter how you looked at it. But if you didn't take the money by 70 and a half, then now 72 as of 2020, you would have to take out a little bit or a minimum amount every year. That is what's called a required minimum distribution. What they didn't want you to do is leave the money for the kids or the grandkids, because they wanted you to take the money out because they want the tax revenue that they didn't capture on that money when you were younger. They want the tax revenue now. So this is true, death and taxes. You're going to pay taxes on this money. And even if you die, the people that are your beneficiaries, they'll have to pay taxes. And we can talk about that and how that all works later. But taxes are going to be paid on that. And if you don't pay, if you don't take out the required minimum distribution, there's a penalty. It's not 10%, it's 50%. So we really want to be careful. Make sure we take that out. So how do they work? Here's a person who's 72 years old, who had a $500,000 balance as of 12/31 of the year before. Because he is 72, his factor, or years remaining, are 25.6. So you take the balance divided by the factor, and this person needs to take out $19,531. And if he doesn't, well, then he's going to get hit with about a $10,000 penalty, and you still got to take the $19,000, and you still got to pay taxes on it. So here is the RMD tax table, and you can see that the older you get, the the smaller the factor because the less number of years in life expectancy. But you can see even here at 115 years old, you still have a distribution or a factor of 1.9. And so you'll never get out of paying taxes on this money. Here's the challenge, or here's the things that we need to think about. Many of you have done a really good job of planning for retirement. And that means that your income will stay the same or maybe even go up when you retire. And that's really good. But you'll also have no deductions when you retire. Hopefully the kids are gone and the house is paid for. And so you will be making more money with less deductions. So your tax rate may either stay the same or go up. And that's where this begins to be a challenge. The other thing we think about is in 2020, we have a $24 trillion debt. You know, we just added 3-4 trillion with the coronavirus legislation, which was needed, and it's a good thing, but we still just piled debt over debt. And we all know that at some point that's going to have to be paid for. And usually Washington finds the easiest way to do that would probably be higher taxes. So in 2020, there is no required minimum distribution, but the question becomes, does it make sense to take a little money out of your qualified money now, even if you don't need it? Because right now we're in historically low tax rates and save maybe higher tax rates later on in the future. Well, we don't know that. But to start down that path, we encourage you to download the worksheet that's attached to this video and do your RMD. On page 3, you'll see what the tax brackets are. But the very first thing is we need to understand how much is in there and what your minimums are going to be. And if you're already taking money out, then you don't, and it's more than the minimum, then you don't have to mess with it. And if you have money in things like a Roth IRA or in a non-qualified account, maybe it's an annuity or maybe it's just an investment account, there is no required minimum distributions for that. It is just the money that was qualified. That's usually in an IRA, a 401k, a 403b, a 457, any one of your TSP, any one of those kind of retirement accounts. So download that worksheet. Let's get started. And want to thank you so much for joining us. And we pray that you have a blessed day.